Alright all, and welcome to the first episode of Blown Cartridge Finds, a new video type series that I'm trying out. So occasionally when I'm buying and selling video games as a part-time hobby, and also as an avid video game collector myself, I sometimes come across some unique, strange, and somewhat unusual things. And after doing this for a good while, I've decided to sort of share some of them things with yourselves. I'm sure some of you are as unhealthily interested in video games as I am. To jump straight into this today, I don't particularly have something strange or unusual, but it is pretty unique. If you took the time out of your day to read this video title, you'll see kind of what it is. A lot of you might have some good idea what it is in general because you were around at the time. Some people might not know much about this at all. Now, this isn't exactly an old item, but it does have an interesting history as such. The new 3DS released in 2014 and was a pretty decent upgrade over the original 3DS. The game's title was still going strong at the time. A lot of people were playing them. The newer version had a more kind of like powerful guts in it. It had improved processors, more RAM, and other welcome additions such as a weird little analog nub back from the days when consoles, especially portable consoles, were coming out with weird little analog nubs, kind of similar to like what the PSP had that was used for controlling cameras. I basically just used that when I was playing in the day, just for Monster Hunter controlling the camera. I can't remember many other games that also supported it, but there will have been. However, what is special about this particular one is that it's the Ambassador Edition. Now, the 3DS Ambassador program, as it was known it came out in August 2011. It was basically for people who had bought the original 3DS at the original price point, which was very, very, very steep at the time. So steep, in fact, it actually had really slow/low sales. And to reward the early adopters, after they had reduced the price of the original 3DS, the people that purchased it for the full price could become a 3DS Nintendo ambassador. This initially only allowed you to download 20 virtual console titles, which doesn't sound like a big thing. But there were 10 decent NES games and 10 decent GBA games, all centered around Nintendo's big hitting IPs. Good games at that as well, to be fair. Games like the original Metroid, the original Legend of Zelda on the NES, even Mario Kart Super Circuit made an appearance from the GBA, which was quite cool. Now, to get back to this edition, back when it was announced in 2014, around the same time as the new 3DSs, you first needed to be one of these ambassadors to get your hands up, to even have a chance, of even having a chance of getting these, you needed to be a 3DS ambassador. Now, that was relatively rare. Not many people bought the 3DS at the price point it was, and which I believe it was somewhere in £250, £260 in the UK. I can't remember off the top of my head. They reduced that right down by close to about £100. So it was already really rare to be in that vein. Now, what happened is you had to be that ambassador and sign up for that and be approved. You then had to be kind of put in. No one knows how they picked them, but basically people on that program got sent emails, and the emails contained a nice little kind of link to go through to Club Nintendo back when that was a thing, all them years ago. To buy one of these for £179.99 Great British pounds while stocks last. No one really knows how many of these were made. Nintendo haven't really alluded, as far as I'm aware, to how many they've made. But this console technically was exactly the same as the normal new 3DSs. It did come with a few nice goodies though to separate from the mix to kind of reward ambassador players. I haven't really found, well, to be honest with you, this is the first one I've ever seen kind of face to face, as it were, and there isn't many of them around, but in this kind of condition it's quite a cool little thing to see. So I just thought we'd have a look through it now. I have had a look through this before I unboxed it, just to kind of check everything was there, check all was good, but it does have some cool things. So the first thing it comes with is a charging cable. Not a charging cable, sorry, a charging cradle. That was close. So basically the 3DS is the new 3DS, and I believe the original 3DS, if I remember rightly, came with kind of flat charging cradle for you to just pop your 3DS in and have it charge. The 3DSs, the new 3DSs, you could actually buy one of these separately and just have it as like a top-loading dock. All it did was charge the console, it did nothing else. But it's really weird because you didn't get these when you bought the console itself, if you didn't buy one of these Ambassador Editions. It also didn't come with an adapter, like a power adapter, but none of the new 3DSs did. No one really knows why. I think Nintendo kind of put out that the main reason for it was that most people by that point already had a Nintendo DS or an original 3DS, I think the original 3DS actually used a different type of slightly bigger adapter, but Nintendo's excuse was basically you guys will probably have one by now, and if you don't, you're gonna have to pay us to buy a new one separately anyway. So it was a really weird time in which Nintendo was selling consoles without the power adapters. But yeah, this one came with a charging cradle, which this one also does not come with a power adapter. So you got a nice charging cradle to put your nice new console in without the actual power adapter. There's nothing too cool about this. Like I say, this is basically exactly the same as what you could have bought separately for the original new 3DS. You can kind of see it there, just kind of docked in. And there you go, the big red labelling that used to be on all of the older Nintendo portable products, which is this AC adapter is not included with this item, which is helpful. Thanks, Nintendo. Let's see what else we got in here. Now I think the thing I'm pulling out. The thing I'm pulling out now. So one of the cooler things about the new 3DSs is the new 3DSs had these really cool like faceplates. Now these faceplates were all kind of interchangeable with the console, which was really, really cool. So you could buy, say at the time I believe the only colours you could get was the white Nintendo 3DS, new 3DS, and the black new 3DS. And then you could get changeable cover plates, which I think sold for around anywhere between £7 to £10 at the time. And you could just unscrew them or clip them on. This one was kind of proprietary just to this Ambassador Edition, which kind of advertises Super Smash Bros. Which it's really cool because it demos all kind of Nintendo's characters on the front. Pikachu, Mario, Link, that kind of thing. But weirdly, it's advertising Smash Bros. And there was a 3DS Smash Bros. That came out, but I believe it was one of the older XL ones that kind of had the special edition. So I can kind of see why they did it, although this didn't come with Smash Bros. At all. The 3DS version, whether you like that or not, I thought it was kind of a good game. But yeah, I think the main reason for this is basically because it's got all the Nintendo characters on it, and it looks really cool. This is kind of unopened. This has never been kind of open and put onto the console that it came with, which is pretty cool. What else have we got? I think all that's left, if I reach well in here, is the console itself. Now, the console itself came in kind of a different box to the original new 3DS edition. But what's different about it is you've got these really nice, basically special edition faceplates that you couldn't get anywhere else, which was basically like a thank you from Nintendo. From what I can remember, the boxes are exactly the same size as what you'd buy a new 3DS in. I don't have one to hand. But they're just really, really kind of small and neat, similar again to like the new 3DS ones. Now in here it didn't really come with anything too cool. Like I said, the only difference between this and if you went and bought a new 3DS at the time, a white one, was basically them faceplates. Now let's see what we've got in here. So that's a charging cable that I used to test it not so long ago. That wouldn't have come with the actual product itself. You've got all your documentation here. Let's see if we've got anything cool. Customer support or good old Wii and Wii U. Step-by-step guide, call Nintendo, book a reservice repair. I actually had a lot of experience with Nintendo support in the past, and they're actually really, really good. The AR stickers, so the ones that let you play the weird little the games that come on it. I don't think many people actually keep them or use them, but it's nice to have them kind of complete like that. A quick start guide, nothing too interesting on that. Oh man, I haven't played a 3DS in such a long time, and a lot of this has taken me back. I wonder if this has any of the weird 3DS support images that used to be in, was it the Wii one, where it had the weird dude that was doing weird stuff with the 3DS? Or was it a Wii? Something like that. I don't think this has any of that in this, all kind of boring and whatnot. What's this one? Operations manual, again, big boring. Let's not... Oh no, this one maybe has the weird dude in it. Let's see if we can find like one of the really funny things. Because I swear there was something where the dude's doing something really weird. I just can't remember off the top of my head what it is. Cannot remember. Come on. Something good. Give us something good. Let's have a look. Oh, it must have been the Wii one. Or the original 3DS. Anyway, there was something about it being... I feel like it was something like it was in his back pocket. And it's like to not sit down on it, but it looks like it's poking out of his arse. Something like that. I'm going to have to link a photo to it in the video. But yeah, so you've got the outer box here. Which again is slightly different to the new 3DS normal box. Again, the new 3DS had a lot of different new functionalities. Super stable 3D. NFC functionality, which was really cool for things like Smash Bros. And again, advertising the replaceable cover plates, which again was such a cool thing. There we go again. Just not in big red letter this time to kind of catch out, but the system requires an AC adapter sold separately. Yep, thanks for that, guys. I remember being caught out of that with my own personal 3DS on the day of release, buying one and not realising it needed an adapter. So got home, it only had about half the amount of battery, then needed to go back out to the game shop and pick up a new adapter for it. So here's the new 3DS Ambassador Edition. Now, obviously, technically, I'm calling it a new 3DS Ambassador Edition, but it's just one of the white ones with the unique. You can only get it with the Ambassador Edition faceplates. It's kind of in good condition. Obviously, there is some scratching. I mean, 9 times out of 10, the stuff I get through online or in person that I'm buying in or selling on is in a used condition, which is kind of what you expect games to be in. Again, it was nice to see that it was all working correctly and there wasn't many scratches on the inside. I mean, scratches on the outside are absolutely fine. Again, it's nice to see that the console's being used. But yeah, like I was saying, there's not much difference between this and if you were to go and find a normal new 3DS. Now, as I mentioned, the cool thing about this, or at least if you were part of the Ambassador program at the time, was that you were able to get a certificate. Now, unfortunately, that's not on this console. If the certificate, unfortunately, says with your account, your Nintendo account, and with how weird Nintendo were with accounts and downloads and things back in the day, especially on the 3DS Wii times, it basically stuck with the account. It didn't stay with this special edition 3DS. So what would happen is you would get a 3DS Ambassador certificate. I'll try and put a link up on the video. And that was basically proof that you were a 3DS Ambassador. Again, this one unfortunately doesn't come with it because someone's wiped their account, which, fair play in this day of age. Which would have been really cool. There's actually, I believe there's quite a sought after thing for people to want to be able to get 3DSs with the Ambassador Edition certificate. I mean, what I can imagine a lot of people do is had it on their original 3DS at the time, and when they ported their account over to this, would take the certificate in them. So it's even rarer to find these with the certificates on them. Some people reckon that the certificate was proof that you could download the 3DS games, but I believe, the additional games that came with it, the 10 NES games and the 10 GBA games, but I don't believe that was a thing. I think it was just used as like a boasting statement. But yeah, so that's the new 3DS Ambassador Edition. Again, it's not that much different really when you think about it from the actual new Nintendo 3DS. It was just a really sought after, rare collectible item. Again, it just comes with some really nice things that you can imagine. I believe at the time, like I said, this cost, if you were lucky enough to get a chance to buy one, these cost £179.99, which I believe was maybe £10 or £20 more than what the new 3DS was RRP. So, you get your charging cradle, which, yes, doesn't come with an AC adapter, but would have cost, I don't know, maybe about 10 or 20 quid, and the faceplates that would have cost about £10, which you couldn't just buy in stores, this type of one anyway. And the nice kind of faceplates that came with it as well. But that's pretty much it. So that was the 3DS Ambassador version. I hope you guys kind of liked the video. I'm going to try and do some other things in the future to get some of the cooler, more retro stuff that I've got lined up. And I'll see you in the next video. Thanks, guys.